50 Cent has been working on this documentary for almost 2 years. The footage he has is insane. The people he got speaking about Diddy is ridiculous. And on top of that, the only place he agrees to do the interview, Rob, if you can show this, he goes and interviews with ABC. And there's an Instagram post he put up, Rob. I don't know if you have that or not. If you go on his Instagram account, he goes and does the interview about Diddy's documentary on ABC.
We have to talk about Tupac, which I wasn't committed to, but then I watched the doc. So
didn't know you were getting that.
You have a lot of people saying stuff in there that makes it sound like maybe he was responsible for that murder, which has never been proven. That's a very serious thing.
But you have Keefe D and over in Vegas now, getting ready to go on trial for that case, saying those things.
Did Tupac know he was about to be killed?
Shot Tupac. I already know who shot. I believe in karma. I believe in all of that.
We are here today to announce the arrest of Keefe D for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Motherfucker, you deserve to die. Talking about you getting money.
I got shot and I was so weak, I damn near fell over. I immediately flew to Vegas and I walked in the room and I seen him laid out on the bed with all kind of tools in him. And his mom came over to me and she grabbed me, she held me up and she said, "Baby, you got to be strong." And I went and sat next to him and whispering to him, telling him I loved him and to hold on and he was gonna be okay. And even in that moment, his mom was thinking more about me than herself and showing me how to love strong.
I told you can't trust these. Now Puffy done killed Tupac, man.
50 Cent went on stage last year and said this.
Maybe I said that because he got Tupac.
You know, and I know, that everyone believes that Diddy was involved in both these shootings and had a direct involvement in your brother's death. That is what the streets have said for 27 years. That's why 50 Cent said it. That's why Eminem has said similar stuff. Would you be comfortable saying that you believe Diddy had nothing to do with it?
No, I wouldn't be comfortable saying that because I don't know. If you look at all the theories, the theory involving him is quite high on the list.
Ron, any comments? Any comments on the trial so far? Any opening statements?
He's having his day.
He's having his day?
He's having his day. We trust the justice system.
One question has continued to haunt hip-hop fans for decades. How did Snoop Dogg react to Tupac Shakur's death? Although Snoop has spoken publicly about the devastating loss over the years, he has often described Tupac's passing as one of the darkest moments in his life and in hip-hop history. The loss not only ended the life of one of rap's greatest artists, but also changed the culture forever. Even decades later, Tupac's death continues to spark discussion, unanswered questions, and renewed interest from fans around the world.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because you listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah.
Netflix's latest documentary series takes a closer look at the life, legacy, and tragic death of Tupac Shakur. Rather than presenting definitive conclusions or making accusations, the series revisits the long-standing debates and public speculation surrounding music executive Sean Diddy Combs and the events that shaped one of hip-hop's most controversial eras. The documentary focuses on the cultural climate, the growing tensions within the music industry, and the unanswered questions that continue to surround Tupac's murder. By exploring multiple viewpoints and historical context, the series offers viewers a more balanced understanding of one of hip-hop's greatest mysteries.
Boy Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas, and he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said in his opinion he now believes that Diddy was behind taking out.
The documentary also follows Sean Diddy Combs' rise from an ambitious young entrepreneur to one of the most influential figures in hip-hop. It highlights the achievements that helped build his legacy long before his recent legal controversies, while also examining his complicated relationship with Tupac Shakur. According to Tupac's cousin, William Lassane, the relationship between the two artists became increasingly strained as time went on. The documentary places both men at the center of the legendary East Coast-West Coast rivalry, a conflict that reshaped the music industry throughout the 1990s. Through interviews, archival footage, and historical accounts, the filmmakers explore the intense pressure, fierce competition, and constantly shifting alliances surrounding many of hip-hop's biggest stars. The series also examines how that rivalry fueled decades of speculation and renewed discussion about the events leading up to Tupac's fatal shooting in Las Vegas in 1996.
Tupac blueprint and changed Biggs and Bad Boy in image. I Get Around, talked about how fly you was, how many girls you mess with, how many cars you drive, how much money you got, what you willing to do. He took his image. Pac was the first one on the scene wearing Versace shirts. He went and got the same Versace shirts Pac had. Which, alright, some dudes would do that. You would never catch me wearing something else, something that somebody else got. He was knocking down all the women that he thought Pac was knocking down. And what I mean is having sex with them. Why would you want to have sex with women you know for sure a dude that was once cool with you was dealing with?
William Lassane spoke openly about the growing tension between Tupac and Diddy, describing it as deep-rooted and long-standing. He suggested that Diddy may have viewed Tupac's rising popularity, confidence, and independence as a growing challenge within the industry. Lassane also encouraged viewers to examine the broader circumstances surrounding the 1994 shooting in New York, emphasizing the confusion, uncertainty, and chaos that define that period rather than assigning responsibility to any individual. His comments highlight just how difficult it remains to fully understand everything that was happening behind the scenes at the time. Music industry veteran Gene Deal also reflected on the rivalry, explaining that the competition between the two camps created enormous pressure and added another layer of complexity to one of the most turbulent chapters in hip-hop history.
PD is going to take this case because Keefe D is people that he name dropped that you want to see if they're going to investigate?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm curious to see how they plan to deal with the case, because he, in his own admissions, mentions other people. You know, are they going to say what happened to these people? Yes, Puffy being one of them. I don't know where that's going to lead, but I do believe there were accomplices, and I don't think all of them have been looked at. So, you know, because over the years, you know, it's a lot of years, you know, amongst the family, we talk, we want to figure it out too. We thinking certain things too. So, you know, we're waiting to see if we can trust this process. I feel like it's bigger because I haven't heard anything about that part of the story from the prosecutor's office. I haven't heard anything about Puffy from the prosecutor's office, even though Keefe D implicates him on these videos that they claim they're using to indict him. Even you got a Crip affiliate from somewhere, but you still not gonna talk about the guy that he mentions by name on the thing. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's exhausting. Yeah, you know, or you know, I'm waiting to see how far they go. because that's what everybody's talking about. That's what everybody's talking about. What about Puffy? You know, so it would be weird that the prosecutor's office wouldn't know and address it. That's why I don't know whether to trust this shit or not. You know.
Alongside those perspectives, Tupac's brother, Mopreem Shakur, has continued to insist that the circumstances surrounding Tupac's death deserve ongoing examination. He believes every aspect of the case, including the social climate of the time and the actions of everyone connected to that turbulent era, should continue to be carefully explored in the hope of reaching a clearer understanding of what truly happened. According to Mopreem, too many important questions remain unanswered for the case to simply be forgotten.
Conflicting stories, right? You got some people that say that, you know, Tupac was moving in the hospital, he was, you know, talking in the hospital, but you being there, from your point of view, how was Tupac condition?
By the time I got there, remember I was coming from LA, so by the time I got there, he had tubes in his throat, in his nose, in his mouth, so he ain't talk to me. Not verbally. He was conscious. He was trying to talk. He did want to talk, but he didn't actually verbalize any words. I always, you know, that's one of my, gonna be one of the biggest mysteries in my life, because he was trying to tell me something. He was trying so hard. He was shaking the bed. He was looking at me, you know, with his big old eyes, you know, and I know he was trying to tell me something, but I don't know.
Something else I want to ask you, because I think it would be appropriate before we get off the Vegas thing, last thing, because I know I did an interview with Napoleon, and they all gave me their reasons why Afeni pulled the plug because of his condition, but I mean, it would be more appropriate since you was his brother. Afeni, her decision to pull the plug on him, from your point of view, what made her pull the plug, respectfully?
Because he had already flatlined a couple of times. And she didn't want him to keep going through that. I think it was like twice before she, you know, let him go. And that's reasonable. You know what I mean? When I was, you know, when I found out, you know, I could live with it more. You know?
Mopreem Shakur has also shared an emotional memory about Tupac's final moments. He recalled believing that his brother was trying to communicate something important before he passed away. That moment has stayed with him ever since and continues to strengthen his determination to seek answers about the circumstances surrounding Tupac's death. For Mopreem, the search is not only about solving one of hip-hop's greatest mysteries, but also about honoring his brother's legacy and ensuring that future generations continue asking difficult questions about one of music's most tragic losses.
I'm not going to say he knew exactly he was going to get robbed, but he knew he was going to get dealt with. Because he was up there with Andre Harrell, and he was with Jimmy Henchman. And even though I think Pac may have owed Jimmy some money, or he was being disrespectful with Jimmy, and Jimmy ain't the type of dude that you was going to be disrespectful for, because he had some real wolves. And Jimmy was about it himself. You know what I mean? So now, in that essence, Puff is up there in the office with him. They know they about to deal with Pac, you know what I'm saying? I don't know the extent that Jimmy told him what they was gonna do to Pac, or he's gonna get dealt with or whatever like that. But I know Puff had a
big frame picture, photograph on one of your walls, and it had Tupac on it wearing a Henchman Entertainment t-shirt. Now, a few years ago, there was a guy named Dexter Isaac that came forward who claimed that you were connected to the Tupac shooting. Do you have anything to say about that?
No, 100%. I've never ducked from answering any Tupac questions, which I could understand if I don't know how Quad Studio morphed into, like I was in Vegas and was part of the shooters that actually ended in his demise. And let me say, me and Tupac were friends, and me and him were friends. I had nothing against Tupac. I liked him. He was younger than me. I'm sure that he looked up to me. There's many moments that me and Pac had that were very intimate, where he talked to me about things that he was afraid of or things that he loved to do, and all of those kind of things. Here it is, you have a prosecutor and you have a guy who's in jail for life. When they pulled Dexter down to interview him in regards to what he knew about me and Tupac and so on and so forth, I have no doubt at this point that Dexter probably was the guy or one of the assailants on Tupac. But Dexter's story just doesn't make sense. Dexter tells a story that I wanted a ring for my fiance, and so I tell him to get the diamond ring from Tupac so I can give it to my fiance, and so on and so forth. He tells this magical story. The only person that can believe such a story is Todd Kaminsky, who was the prosecutor who was trying to make something out of nothing.
Hit, right. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so there's, let's see, Keefe D claims that there is this ongoing conversation. It happens on 3 different occasions, but most specifically when he and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And they're there. Things have spiraled out of control. Puffy's really concerned about, you know, the welfare of his safety. And he tells Keefe D, man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac. It's out of control. You know, Tupac's on vinyl talking about killing all of our kids when they grow up. And, you know, it's just become this really serious conflict. And he says, I just need you to take care of him. And Keefe D's like, that's no problem. That's what we do. And so an agreement was made, according to Keefe D, for an amount of money. And they kind of just let it go at that point in time. But of course, Keefe D knows in the back of his mind, this is what Puffy wants done. And they all end up out in Las Vegas. Suge's out there.
Well, before you say that, there's a couple things I want to talk about from Vegas. So when you say that Keefe got offered an amount of money, according to him, was there a dollar amount?
Yeah, so there was a dollar amount. But I think that, you know, the nuances of this conversation are that, like, man, I'll give you $1 million, whatever it takes. You know, it's like exaggerated speech. But of course, when we interview Keefe D, he's like, yeah, that's the agreement amount, was $1 million.
So according to Keefe, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to kill Suge or Tupac?
Both of them. Yeah, both their names came up. And according to Keefe D, he says, you know, Tupac's put himself on the list by all the talking that he was doing. But it was really about Suge, because it was Suge's muscle.
Right, he had the diamond chain on, with the chain with diamonds at each length going through it. Right, he had a big stone on the diamond ring and the smaller stone, one for $35,000 and the one for $20,000. All right, so even Stretch that did this shit, I took his bracelet too, and changed it and put my man's name on it and took off the name on it. So motherfuckers claiming that this. Even
so hold on, homie.
Claimed that he was Tupac's stepdaddy, wrote me and wanted me to have my people meet him and give him back the chain and shit, talking about some redemption shit. You know, them niggas ain't
So hold on, hey Dex. So that day that happened, November 30th, 1994, it wasn't just Tupac and Freddie Nichols. Stretch was with them too?
Stretch was with them too, yeah. Stretch set the whole shit up. He was in cahoots. He was giving us play-by-play where they was at. On their way there, he was in communication with Jimmy and shit. You know, Jimmy promised them two big eggs and shit.
Wow, so he sold Pac out for a quarter brick, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
And
Killer boy too.
Wow. Yeah.
Paid him $1 million to try to take out Tupac and Suge Knight. Investigators early on already zeroed in on Keefe D because he is the uncle of Orlando Anderson, who was the main suspect in Tupac's unaliving. During this time, they believed that Keefe D was also in Vegas, and this is things that we have heard him say over the years in his multiple interviews, and one reason why he's on trial for the unaliving of Tupac. But then investigators really started to get curious when they found out that Keefe D was at the Peterson Museum the night that Biggie was unalived. Back in 1997, at the height of this investigation, police actually raided Keefe D's house for gang activity, and they seized one of the vehicles that were at his house because it matched the Chevy Impala description of the person who drove away after Biggie was unalived. $1 million. After seizing Keefe D's vehicle and raiding his house for gang activity, this is when investigators would first try to question Keefe D if he had any involvement in Biggie's unaliving. And at this point in time, he really didn't talk, and he told them that they were